perhaps the most Brahminy of Brahmins of the mid-19th century Boston scene was Oliver Wendell Holmes. Born in 1809, lived to 1894. It's a good long life. He was a writer only by self-entertainment, and he had a very respectable life as a physician and teacher outside of that. And literature was a hobby, if you will, a gentlemanly hobby, a respectable hobby for that time. Gives you a sense also of a man of medicine, a man of science, so to speak, who also dabbles in the fine arts, the belles letters. The most notable poem that we have from him, is Old Ironsides, which is a bit of a museum piece. It's a happy little tune, essentially. Not necessarily happy. It's actually a voice of. It's actually an avenue for outrage, and but it is a significant little piece in the character it brings to the time, and the expression it gives to a kind of fading ideal of the Revolutionary era, of the Romantic era, and the coming ordinary quality, I would say, of the realist movement as it starts to gain speed and traction in the broader culture. This came out in 1830, so it's a little early for realism necessarily, but it is coming about in the kind of battle you can see with the pragmatic and the practical versus the heroic element that is passing, and the voice in it is really it's really quite distinctive. I tear her tattered ensign down, long has it waved on high, and many an eye has danced to see that banner in the sky. Beneath it rung the battle shout, and burst the cannon's roar. The meteor of the ocean air shall sweep the clouds no more. Her deck once red with heroes' blood, where knelt the vanquished foe, when winds were hurrying o'er the flood, and waves were white below, no more shall feel the victor's tread, or know the conquered knee. The harpies on the shore shall pluck the eagle of the sea. Oh, better that her shattered bulk should sink beneath the wave. Her thunders shook the mighty deep, and there should be her grave. Nail to the mast her holy flag, set every threadbare sail, and give her to the god of storms, the lightning and the gale. Now, the occasion of this poem, it is an occasional poem. The occasion of this poem is the news that the USS Constitution was going to be decommissioned. It's a ship that was active in the War of 1812 and defeating the British, and it is a bit of a heroic touchstone with that coda to the revolutionary age. And so it's an emotional, nostalgic relic, quite frankly. And the news that it was going to be taken apart and tossed in the junk heap occasioned some outrage. And when he read about it in the newspaper, Holmes sat down and he penned this little ditty. And it actually led a movement to rally around the effort to save the ship and preserve it as an important artifact of revolutionary history. So it's got all that going on there. It has some significance, but the story of it is less interesting than I find just the subtle mechanics of the poem. The poem itself, it's obviously kind of a little doggerel. It's a very regular rhyme, very regular meter. It's not that interesting. It does, however, work with some very concrete imagery that I find intriguing for that era, quite frankly. I tear her tattered ensign down, long as it waved on high, and many an eye has danced to see that banner in the sky. Uh, Painting it with visual images, the tattered ensign, the tattered flag hanging, flying from the ship. Her deck once red with heroes' blood, where knelt the vanquished foe. When winds were hurrying over the flood and waves were white below, no more shall feel the victor's tread or know the conquered knee. The harpies of the shore shall pluck the eagle of the sea. All of these are very concrete images that are contributing to this poem. He doesn't just get up and say in a poem, "This is a good ship." He paints a very romantic portrait and very sweeping emotional images throughout. And that's interesting. Also, with this, I think you can sense a distinct yearning for the heroic past. This is coming in 1830. It's been a full generation at this point since the War of 1812, and so those people are dying off. Those people are fading away. Life expectancy wasn't all that long for the common folk then. And so the revolutionary generation has largely passed by now. This is coming, 1830 would be, 4 years after the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and the simultaneous, almost, deaths, so symbolic, of Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, those great revolutionary heroes. And so that sense that, okay, this is one more thing getting passed along and getting eclipsed by time, and there is a hunger in there in these romantic images to retain some of that, to retain some of that heroic past, and even in the sense of at the cost of destruction. Instead of picking apart the ship, it seems the poem seems to be suggesting that it go down, that you sink it, you scuttle the ship, almost as if it were scuttled in battle. It goes out in a blaze of glory. Oh, better that her shattered bulk should sink beneath the wave, or thunder shook the mighty deep, and there should be her grave. That sense of, well, okay, you need to go out with a blast, so to speak. You need to go out with a bang, and the refusal to let something so prosaic happen as stripping it down for lumber, as was probably going to be the case. That insistence that it go out in glory, and that the passing of this ship fit somehow the life of this ship. To give her to the god of storms, the lightning and the gale, which again, the weather imagery harkens to conventional romantic imagery of the art of the Romantic age. And so there is this sense that the Romantic era broadly is fading away. Now, I don't think Oliver Wendell Holmes, who was Mr. Convention, was necessarily a great Byronic hero by any regards, but you can see perhaps a wistfulness, perhaps an ambiguity about the heroic, revolutionary virtues of the previous era on the wane. And what's left? Things are, a little dull and prosaic. Perhaps it is a note of anxiety in 1830. Certainly, there was agitation that would lead to culminate in the Civil War. And maybe the focus on remembering the past, glorying in the past, everybody rally around this emblem of the past to hold us together. Because in Boston of 1830, I'm guessing there was some questioning about, well, do we really want to be hanging around with these Southern folks and their slavery and all of that? We are upright Christians and we don't believe in that. And there is that possibility within this. It is a poem of some remorse. It is a poem of some ruefulness. It has that tone that was so popular in the middle decades of that century, where it is polite and ceremonious and institutional in its way, but also very much hospital corners. This is a full generation before Whitman is going to blow all of that up. This is about respecting the past. This is about respecting tradition. This is about all sorts of things that were part and parcel of later English prose, I would say. I can sort of see the marks of Sir Walter Scott in this. Um, but it is predominantly a celebration of particularly an American relic within a glorious past that is less explicitly American, but partakes of the traditional emblems of glory, military glory, which the precedent for that is largely European, and in this case, I would say particularly English. But the poem has some significance. The poem is entertaining. The poem has some historical relevance because of its role in preserving an element of our history that people today can enjoy. And the museum piece quality of it is entertaining for what it is. But peeling back the facade and just speculating on, well, what else could be going on here? What else could be happening here? What is this poem really saying about the past? What is it really saying about glory and the future? That's where I find it more thrilling.